And, I really stand by that realization I had last week that Coop / the ghoul, whatever, is supposed to represent us, like the player character. So the fact that his character is the one that makes the decisions that matter in this version of the world, like reigniting that Caesar's Legion civil war, like that's a decision that we would have made as players, right? Or even deciding whether he should, side with the NCR when he meets up with that remnant of the NCR. I just think it's really cool that maybe I'm giving him too much credit here. Maybe I'm digging too deep, but it seems like they found a way to kind of take what the player character represents in these stories, in these games, and how we're the ones who make the decisions. We're the ones who move the world, forward. That's exactly what the ghoul does in these episodes. He did it last week. He's doing it this week. He did it in the first season in a lot of ways. So yeah, Lucy's really not the main character. The main character is us, and the main character is the ghoul. He's our representative, our surrogate in this version of the Fallout world. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a pat on the back for that one because I think it's pretty good. It's a pretty good connection, I think. Yeah, I don't know. There is so much to go over this week as far as Easter eggs and references to the game that I can't wait to talk about. And then there's just a million civil wars happening now. So let's just jump into it. Yeehaw! We start off strong with Sunset Sarsaparilla, baby. It's good to see our favorite desert beverage once again, in a reverse assembly line, no less, where Thaddeus is employing both Smoothskins and ghoul children, where they're taking bottle caps off of Sunset Sarsaparilla bottles. Yeah, what the fuck? It's just so ridiculous. It's so very Fallout. It's totally something you'd see in a game. But yeah, he was probably the funniest part of this episode, but we'll talk more about him in a bit. But remember, most kids are dead by this age. Damn, I was 99% sure as the episode was playing out that Macaulay Culkin's character was Legolas, but we found out in the credits that it wasn't him. But his mask looked almost identical, and I kind of wish it was him, but maybe there's so many references to the game in this episode that maybe it's good to leave that one alone. There's so many things. This is also 20 years after, I think it's 20 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. 20 years after the game ends. So he would be a lot older here too and stuff. But yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be him. I think they just tried to like allude to Lanius and like have these little elements, like I said, like his mask and stuff, his helmet looked almost identical. But which honestly is like maybe even the better way to do things. Like you don't need everything to be one for one referenced in this show from the game. It's more of like, it's nice to drop little hints for people like us who play the games and get the references to be like, oh, do the pointing meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh.
So it doesn't have to be like an exact match. It's easy as a fan to, like, you see a lot of people get really caught up in like, oh, that's not exactly how it was in the game, and like everything has to be exactly the same, and it's easy to fall down that rabbit hole, and it's not really fun to look at things that way. It's not fun to need everything to be an exact match, exact copy to the lore. If you're really into the lore and stuff, you need it all to be exact. Just think of this as like a fun fan fiction story. But yeah, so I like the way they did it here. It's not Lanius, even though I thought for sure it was going to be him. It's not him, but it looks like him. It talks like him. It walks like him. Doesn't have to be him exactly. So a nice reference there. But holy fuck, the way when Lucy and the other slaves show up and then just fucking slices her throat. That was so crazy. That was so hardcore, And also, it's really funny how like Lucy calls them out on the whole Kaiser versus Caesar thing, because Kaiser literally means Caesar. In Germany's constitutional monarchy, they called their emperor Kaiser because in German it means Caesar. You'll notice that in like a bunch of different cultures throughout history, where everyone wants to be the kind of successor nation, successor empire to the Roman Empire. We think of them so highly. But yeah, I appreciated that she made that reference because it's literally what it means. So let them say what they want. It was just super sick to see the Legion, brought to life like this. I feel like they did a really good job. They handle the Fallout like jank really well, where they're wearing like sports armor, and they decorate it a little bit. Like it's so cheesy. There's that element of the Fallout And I thought they did a really good job of capturing that. So yeah, it was really cool to see the Legion. And then as we jump back in time and we're at this veterans event, it's crazy to see House and Cooper like in the same place, and House knows who he is, and he's like kind of giving him shit and being as weird as he's been in the show so far. In my first episode discussion, I had said that like Mr. House in the show is just as deranged as he is in the game, and a lot of you guys were right to say deranged isn't the right word to use there. Like he's too pragmatic, he's too practical, he knows what he's doing, he's always thinking ahead and stuff. Deranged doesn't fit that. But the craziness, the megalomaniacal, narcissistic, classical narcissist person that House is, like, that does match with what we get in the show, I think. And as we're getting more of these pieces of him, still we haven't seen him in modern day yet. I'm guessing that's going to be next week or the one after. But this pre-war stuff, like I'm very curious as to what this connection is with Cooper, but I do appreciate that there is a connection, that they're going to bring it full circle when he sees House in New Vegas, as we've seen in some of these trailers and stuff. Like narratively, I feel like that's gonna deliver, to have this connection to them in the past, and to have Coop, in the future, reconnecting with him and seeing where that all leads. We also get this awesome motion assist servo reference. I can't remember if this is when it happened exactly, but I think it was House that mentioned it. And I just appreciate it because it's the whole Fallout 4 suit mod reference. That's definitely a mod I would always put on my power armor. It was super sick too how we get this backstory on the Brotherhood of Steel. Some of this, those of you who are lore experts on this shit, like, please jump in the comments and tell me what I'm getting wrong. I'm pretty sure there's elements of this we hadn't heard before. I wasn't familiar with Roger Maxon and him, founding the Brotherhood of Steel, and I wasn't familiar at least with how he started the Brotherhood. That may have been something we've heard before. It probably was, because I can't imagine they'd, rewrite the origin of this and risk pissing you guys off that really know this shit backwards and forwards. I appreciated how Maximus uses the narrative, all the logic that I can't remember his name, but his chapter's leader, the scribe, he uses that against him because he's totally fucking disillusioned at this point. Like, you can tell he has no interest in the future of the Brotherhood. So he's just kind of calling it as he sees it now, using the stupid logic and propaganda against his leader that he tried to use on the other chapter leaders. And then he just gives him the whole, behold the dimness of the sword, and it's like, fuck you. Like, he totally, it's just whooshing him, right? It's going right over his head what Maximus is trying to do. But yeah, he's officially totally disillusioned. He's done, and I'm excited to see where that takes his character next, especially because he just started a fucking civil war between the Brotherhood just by saving Thaddeus's little factory there and all the kids, which was probably the right call. But before we get to that point, when we have Xander, Kumail Nanjiani's character, and he's like totally trying to schmooze Maximus as they go out kind of on this little hunt around the Mojave. And he just says this is the funniest line in the show so far. Every week there's a new funniest line. But he's just like, can we just be hard dick for a second? And I was already laughing at that point. And then you get the look on Maximus's face when he's like, yeah. And then he like looks away and he looks back, and then it cuts at like the perfect point. Like, that was so funny. I was dying laughing at that point. But even better, we get one of the best, I think, blink and you'll miss it references in the show so far. Like, we see fucking Helios 1 in the background, the vertebrates flying over, and there's this wide shot right after their conversation once they get the signal or whatever. And the vertebrates flying over, and you can see Helios 1 in the background. So cool to see it. That was definitely one of those. But that wasn't even it. Like, right after that, we cut to the ghoul, literally right after it. And you see Prim in the background. He's going to meet up with that NCR remnant, whoever's left over from the NCR. And you see Prim and the roller coaster and everything off in the background. Like, another one of the same thing. Another Once Upon a Time in Hollywood spot where you just point at the screen. So in a matter of like 10 seconds, we have Helios 1, we have Prim, and then we get a super sledge right after it. But it's just like, wow, holy shit. There's so many references like back to back to back. It was fun to kind of keep up with them as they were coming. But dude, okay. From my perspective, Xander's a piece of shit. Yeah. So I don't blame Maximus at all for starting a civil war. I do feel like that was the perfect moment for Maximus to have to make a decision, and it had to be right on the spot, you know, just like that. And yeah. It was good writing. I felt like that made sense. But I love like the dialogue in the show is so fucking good. And it was just like, I think I just started a civil war. And then he's like, Thaddeus is like, yeah, well, I'm the floor manager here. So it sounds like we both have a lot going on right now. And then Maximus, he's such a good comedic actor. And his reaction of just, yeah, he like looks away before he cuts. Again, really good editing. And it is Maximus's reaction is just perfect here. Yeah, he's great. He's got great comedy timing, and I just appreciated that. Oh yeah, we got Camp Golf in the show. How could I almost forget that? That was so sick to see. Camp Golf totally abandoned. The NCR is in shambles at this point in the timeline. But then we got Victor at the same time. So that was kind of like a double point kind of situation. All the versions of the Securitron that we get in this episode look so fucking good. They're just so accurate, and they look great, and they seem like they're even practical, which is even better. Yeah, I'm so satisfied with them, but still even cooler that we got Victor in the show. And of course, again, to going back to that whole thing about how the ghoul is like our touch point, our surrogate in the story. He's the player character. He knows Victor already. He knows the NCR already. He knows the Legion already. He's totally us. He's everybody who's played the New Vegas game. And now 20 years in the future, having all these experiences, knowing who Victor is, having a relationship with Victor, all that stuff. I don't know. I just think that's so cool that they kind of accounted for us in this story, you know? Dude, what a good episode. I had so much fun watching this one. I appreciated all the reference slop. I don't, like I said before, I don't even think it's slop. Like in Fallout, you can drop all these references, and it doesn't take away from the story at all, because this story doesn't take itself too seriously. Fallout doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just satire. The whole thing is satirical. So yeah, I had so much fun watching this episode and like, you know, pointing at the screen and having a good time. We moved the story along pretty well. We didn't get any of Hank McLean at all. So I'm really curious to see what we get with that, you know, next week. This was more of an update on the state of the wasteland, if you will. But yeah, this was just a lot of fun. I'm excited to see where we go next. I'm excited that we got that backstory and connection between House and Cooper. And it'll be cool to see where that leads next week or the week after, when we get to the New Vegas Strip and we kind of find out what the hell what's going on with their relationship and what we don't know already and what we're going to find out. I'm excited about all that. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I can't wait for next week. Can't wait to talk more about this. If you guys like watching this stuff and you feel like I earned it, I'd appreciate a sub and a like. It helps a lot. I want to, you know, keep this growing and keep doing this stuff. I'm having so much fun doing this. But yeah, I know your time's valuable. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Bye.